You're listening to Francis Oblivion and the Mad Undead by J. Johnson Higgins. This audiobook edition is a Kiss the Widow production.
Chapter 8, and the misfortunes that immediately followed.
Siena Hope Times Obituaries. October 12th, last year. On October 11th, Gregory P. Fitzallen passed away. He was the beloved husband of Margaret M. Fitzallen, devoted father of Jonathan and Rachel Fitzallen, dear brother of Melvin Fitzallen, loving son to Glenn and the late Deborah Fitzallen. Also survived by nieces, nephews, relatives, and friends. Gregory was a professor of psychology as well as a practicing therapist. A memorial service will be held on Thursday. Siena Hope Times Obituaries. November 14th, last year. On November 13th, Margaret M. Fitzallen passed away. She was the beloved wife of the late Gregory P. Fitzallen. Siena Hope Times Obituaries. December 17th, last year. On December 15th, Melvin Fitzallen passed away. He was the dear brother of the late Gregory P. Fitzallen. Investigation report regarding the fire at the Jonathan Fitzallen residence. City Fire Marshal Division. Department of Public Safety. Early this year.
Editor's note. This report was missing from the log, but was later recovered from an electronic backup file.
Case number 2098-443. Lead investigator Carl D. Paulin. Property. Name Serpa Coast Apartment Complex. Unit, Apartment 413H, Jonathan Fitzallen Residence. Address, 413 Harborside Road Southeast, Apartment H. City, Siena, Corrette District. County, not applicable, Independent City of Siena. Incident detail. Date January 18th. Time 3:36. Fire type, accidental, stricken out and changed to arson. Fire cause, could not be determined. Number of leasing occupants during incident. 1. Number of individuals found in unit during incident. 2. Number of injuries. 0. Number escorted to area hospital. 0. Occupancy type. Residential. Smoke detector performance. Operating properly. Sprinkler system performance. Failed. Occupied, not at present. Disposition. Referred to other agency, Siena Police Department. Synopsis. Residents of the Serpa Coast apartment complex awoke to a fire alarm and later discovered that the master bedroom of apartment 413H was engulfed in flames. Fire and smoke were visible from the exterior of the building. No other areas of the apartment were affected. Firefighters extinguished the fire using a hose from a hydrant. Fire investigation determined that the fire originated from inside the master bedroom. The single occupant and adjacent occupants report no knowledge of the source of the fire. Firefighters could not determine the specific source of the fire, but the fire class appears to be ordinary solid combustibles, the various objects in the room set ablaze. Electrical and flammable liquid causes have been eliminated. The sprinkler system tested as operating properly but failed during the incident. The northeast corner of the bedroom appeared unaffected by the flames, and this is where the 2 individuals found in the unit took refuge. Arson is suspected, but the method of committing it is inconclusive. Special Fire Marshal's note. The circumstances of this fire are highly unusual. The failure of the sprinkler system was abnormal, as other sprinklers immediately adjacent to the room later deployed when the master bedroom did not, and as the fire spread. No blockage of the system could be found, and when it was later tested it did deploy without delay even after extensive damage. The system was tested recently and the maintenance records were up to date. The single leasing occupant of the unit under investigation reported that an unknown assailant was responsible for the blaze, but investigators could not find evidence of accelerants that could have conveniently assisted in starting and/or spreading the blaze with such efficiency. Another individual, a woman different from the assailant, was found at the scene. The single occupant did not know this woman at the scene but insisted that it was not her but the unknown intruder that was responsible for the blaze. Further, there were no injuries including smoke inhalation despite a fully engulfed room. Both individuals found at the scene attribute their safety to what appears to be a hand-drawn chalk ring in the northeast corner. This outcome cannot be explained. Siena Police Department. Incident Report, Copy 2. regarding the fire at the Jonathan Fitzallen residence early this year.
Editor's note. This report's original copy was also mysteriously missing within days of its submission. Luckily, a second copy was later recovered, added again to the file via a system data patch, and is presented here.
Incident. Date of report, January 18th at 6:43. Occurred from January 18th at 3:36. Occurred to January 18th at 4 o'clock, estimated. Incident type, arson. Case number, SFD 2098-443 referred. Department case status, open/active. Day of occurrence, Monday. Received, January 18th at 6:01. Dispatched, January 18th at 6:03. Arrived, January 18th at 6:10. Was evidence collected? Yes, traces of chalk markings retrieved. Evidence collected from scene. Photos/video taken? Yes, digital. Photos of victim's injury, not applicable. Photos of suspect's injury, not applicable. Photos of damaged property? Yes, digital. Specific location type, apartment. Hate crime, to be determined. Offense? Siena statute arson. Attempt/committed, committed. Motive, under investigation. The location, room and individual tenant were clearly targeted, but it is not yet clear why. The following are more likely or still under consideration. Jealousy, revenge, thrill. The following are less likely motives for this arson. Fraud. Effort to hide another crime. Riot/vandalism. Terrorism. Person 1. Person type, victim. Name, Jonathan Fitzallen. Description, male. General appearance, plaid sleepwear, white t-shirt, provided a coat. Demeanor, cooperative, confused and shaken. Person 2. Person type, suspect, not present at the scene. Name, unknown. Description, unknown. General appearance, unknown. Demeanor, unknown. Person 3. Person type, person of interest/witness. Name, Rebecca T. Aza. Description, female. General appearance, wearing motorcycle clothing. Demeanor, cooperative, polite but demanding. Reporting officer, Officer Derek Waterman. Approving officer, Sergeant Stephen Hicks. Narrative. Dispatch information, Siena Fire Department. Primary unit changed to Siena Police Department. Arrival on scene. Upon arrival, I was met by Siena Fire Department Deputy Fire Marshal Jeremy Viscount, who stated that the circumstances of the fire were unusual and likely criminal in nature based on the statement of the victim, the scene, and the revelation that the victim was clearly and deliberately targeted. An unknown intruder is purported to have initiated the blaze with an unknown incendiary. An investigation into the blaze is still ongoing. A witness or person of interest who was reported to have aided the victim to safety was available for questions. Description of the scene. Victim was able to provide details of the address and of the incident location as needed. Physical and emotional state of victim. The victim had no obvious external signs of injury. He was shaken and confused by the situation but able to clearly communicate. No injuries were discovered during the investigation. Treatment was refused. Victim's account. The victim, Jonathan Fitzallen, stated that he was in bed and asleep when he thought he heard someone else in his room. He explained that the light switch would not work but he could hear someone on the other side of the room. When the floor before him caught fire, he stood up on his bed. He tried to quickly extinguish the fire, but it spread too quickly about the room. He felt surrounded. The victim could not provide any physical description of the suspect, unknown, but said that a witness or person of interest, Rebecca Aza, entered the room through the bedroom door shortly after the start of the fire and helped to get him to safety. The victim explained that the person of interest appeared to be looking for and guarding against the unknown subject as well, but when she was unsuccessful in seeing him, she pulled the victim back and drew a chalk ring on the wooden floor encircling them in the northeastern corner of the room. The person of interest reportedly caused the space within the chalk ring to become cooler and she kept it this way until firefighters could arrive. No smoke and no fire made it into this ring. The victim described her as well-intentioned and attentive but strangely knowledgeable of their situation and possessing powers. Despite the description, the victim did not appear intoxicated or under the influence of any substances. No illegal substances were found at the scene. After speaking with the fire department and speaking with the rental office, Siena police were invited to the scene as the primary agency. The victim explained that he did not know why he was targeted. Suspect to victim relationship, not known. Witness or person of interest, to victim relationship. Person of interest knew of the victim but was not well acquainted. The victim did not recognize the person of interest. Witness or person of interest, account. The person of interest, Rebecca Azza, described that she was in the area during the incident. She does not live in the apartment complex and does not personally know anyone from it. When asked why she was in the area, she responded that she had a feeling that something bad was about to happen there and acted on her intuition. When asked if she knew the victim, she responded that she did not know him personally but that she did know his late father, Gregory Fitzallen, professionally and as a friend. She said that she did enter the premises uninvited but as any good Samaritan would if in the same situation and able to act. She explained that there was a fire visible from the street and that she believed that the victim was inside in danger and that she could help. At that time she kicked and broke the door to enter. Her account aligns with the victim regarding timing, odd occurrences and the presence of a malicious third intruder suspect, unknown. She could not describe the suspect and said that she could not see anyone else in the room despite knowing someone was there. The person of interest explained that she drew a circle of protection on the ground to protect the victim and herself from the fire, heat, smoke and the assailant. She was content that her circle was effective. She then insisted that the police protect the victim and assign protection to the local members of the victim's family. When I asked on what basis she offered these recommendations, she said that she again had a feeling but added that there was a precedence of violence against this family in recent months, possibly from a common assailant. Officer observations. When I arrived at the scene and after speaking to the fire department, both the victim, Jonathan Fitzallen, and the person of interest, Rebecca Azza, were accessible. I spoke with both. Their accounts appear to align with one another without collusion. I see no conflicts in the overlapping points of their stories. This is particularly helpful in confirming that a third individual, our suspect, was present and is at large. These accounts also help to eliminate the person of interest as a potential primary suspect or accomplice until further notice. To be thorough, I investigated the person of interest to reveal any special background or connection to the situation. I learned that she had duplicate entries in our system, likely from name confusion. Rebecca Azza, short name filed under A, and Rebecca Teresa Donatelli Azza, full name but filed under D. Log, verification of record and merge file requested this 18th day of January. I learned that Rebecca was many things. She was a professor at the University of Siena like she said that she was. In addition, she was a motorcycle instructor who has also trained some of the police motorcycle units for advanced maneuverability. She was also a prominent member of the local Siena Suicide Motorcycle Club, particularly a subgroup called the November Crew. In the club she was known by the alias, Stars. The club is not classified as a gang and its members rarely experienced organized confrontations with the legal system beyond occasional misdemeanor moving violations or inappropriate use of a motor vehicle on public roads. Rebecca's driving record was largely clean except for a citation for exceeding the maximum speed limit by 20 miles per hour over 2 years ago, for which she paid the payable fine without dispute and has not had a violation of the type since. Rebecca was arrested twice before but not charged for any moving violations, property or violent crime. She was arrested during 2 political protests. The first arrest was during a demonstration against the relocation of the homeless from a makeshift community. She and others stood in the way and were removed from the premises. Rebecca was charged under the Siena statute that bans demonstrators from blocking a major thoroughfare and refusing to respond to police orders to disperse from the area. Her second arrest was a more recent counter-demonstration against neo-fascists. She and several others were suspected of violent retaliation during the event but were never charged, given the lack of solid evidence. Again, her final charges were for blocking traffic only and the rest were dropped. No other activities resulting in an incident appear on her record. Additionally, Dr. Azar's name came up in connection to a separate disturbance, one in which she was the victim of an assault with a deadly weapon by one Icarus Young. The incident resulted in her filing a peace order against him. These findings are relevant to this case in that they demonstrate that, while the person of interest had encounters with the law, she did not have a history of arson or malicious criminal behavior. She also lacked an obvious motive for the crime. I did find it abnormal that both Azza and the victim were unharmed by the blaze despite its intensity. The fire department and adjacent tenants confirmed that the blaze produced a lethal amount of smoke and that the heat could be felt from a distance. It should have, in theory, been lethal for her and the victim. I'd also seen the unharmed chalk ring for myself and could not explain it. I found the person of interest peculiar, but I did not have any concrete basis for believing she was involved in the crimes. While her stated intuition is suspicious, her act did put herself at serious risk and she did save a life because of it. She was very cooperative, spoke professionally, understood the police agency's role and her rights, but at times she was pushy and extremely insistent with me on what my next actions should be. Despite this behavior, I did check for the recent history of violence toward the immediate family of the victim as she had asked, and I learned that 3 members of the victim's family had in fact died in unusual and violent ways in recent months. Their names were Gregory P. Fitzallen, unexplained suffocation, alone at his campus office. Margaret M. Fitzallen, unexplained drowning when home alone and ruled accidental. Melvin Fitzallen, slashing in an area parking lot, suspect still at large. All 3 incidents could have been linked to a single aggressor, but this angle has not been explored or confirmed and would require additional investigative resources. The next actions of this agency will have to go through the proper channels, but I will however take her recommendations into consideration and pass them on as the investigation continues. Dr. Azza also offered me a small pendant resembling a star in a circle which she said was for my protection during the investigation. I did not know the true value of the silver pendant, but I refused the object on the grounds that I may not accept gifts from individuals who are part of an active investigation that may appear to compromise the impartiality and judgment of my office. After speaking with her and taking down her information, we continued our investigation. At that time, I offered to provide Dr. Azza with a ride back to her own residence, but she opted to leave with her own transportation, what I believe to be a Lee Dillon motorcycle with modified, but legal, engineering. Evidence recovered. I recovered little evidence of value from the scene that did not already belong there. I'd taken chalk from the scene and confirmed it was the same chalk that the person of interest willingly provided to me. The chalk does not appear to be special in any way and was simply yellow and available at most craft and drug stores. Siena Hope Times obituaries. February 21st, earlier this year. On February 20th, Glenn Fitzallen passed away. He was the father of the late Gregory. Message to Siena Police Department. From Rebecca Azza. To Officer Derek Waterman. Sent February 23rd, earlier this year, 9:14 a.m. Subject: Thank you and Fitzallen cases. Status: Message sent, never arrived in inbox.
Thank you again for lunch the other day. I appreciate the reminder that you're not all out to crack the skulls of me and my friends during peaceful demonstrations. In fact, I think you're a good person in general. Also, thank you for reaching back to me and looking into the Fitzallen cases. I did exactly what you asked me to do when we spoke the other day. I stayed away and did not get involved further in the Fitzallen cases for both my safety and so that your agency could do its work, but now I just learned that another Fitzallen has died. I assume you have heard about Jonathan's grandfather, Glenn. Since you would not take my pendant, I truly hope you are wearing your own spiritual protection from your own faith as I suggested. If you are not all that spiritual or religious, could you at least speak an affirmation for me? Say, I will be safe today. Just say it aloud. Find a small object with great personal meaning to you and keep it close. It would serve as a cognitive reminder of those words, a reminder to be extra careful, and act as a trigger to at least one memory or reason to apply extra caution. That works too. I swear it does, and I don't think I'm asking too much of you with that request. I have a bad feeling right now, and I believe you should be careful. Do not forget it, sir. I mean it. Little things like that make a big difference in strange times like these. I respect everything that you have done, are doing, and will do, but I am writing to inform you that I can't remain uninvolved any longer, and this is no fault of yours. I cannot leave this alone. Jonathan and Rachel Fitzallen are the closest direct relatives living in Siena, and I think they are still in danger. Please protect them. Please send officers to their locations. That is my request. Please take care of yourself. Rebecca.
Siena Hope Times Regional Spotlight. February 23rd, earlier this year, inmate mistaken release from prison. Police are searching for an inmate who was mistakenly released from a Siena prison on February 5th, according to a news release from the Department of Corrections. Alex Weird, 21, was serving a 40-year sentence for first-degree murder and 2 concurrent sentences of 20 months and 8 months for burglary and theft respectively at Siena Shore Penitentiary since June of last year. He was released because of a paperwork mix-up when his initial sentence was completed. Police are warning the public not to approach Weird if identified and to contact authorities. He is considered armed and extremely dangerous. Siena Hope Times Regional Spotlight. February 24, earlier this year, 2 police officers killed in the line of duty. Police are investigating the shooting deaths of Officer Derek Waterman III, 28, and Sergeant Stephen Hicks, 42. Authorities have indicated that the 2 officers were fatally wounded during a vehicle stop. The vehicle was reported stolen. Authorities suspect that the shooter was Alex Weird, 21, an inmate who was mistakenly released from prison earlier this month. No further information has been released at this time. Siena Hope Times Regional Spotlight. February 27, earlier this year, empty chemical plant fire claims the lives of 4 firefighters. In the morning hours of February 26, a fire was reported at the abandoned Refis Chemicals warehouse on the 1400 block of Fresh Ever Drive. During the containment of the blaze, firefighter Christopher Hill, 34, became trapped in the crumbling building. April Bonds, 26, attempted to rescue Hill from the blaze but also became trapped. Both firefighters died after they could not be reached. During the follow-up investigation of the blaze, an unstable chemical room reignited, causing a massive explosion that could reportedly be heard for miles. This explosion killed Fire Marshal Carl D. Pollan, 57, and Deputy Fire Marshal Jeremy Viscount, 39. The City Fire Marshal Division was investigating at the time of the incident. Siena Hope Times feature story, excerpt. February 28, earlier this year, cause of miscarriages in Siena unclear. Authorities are still investigating the potential factors that may have led to a spike in the number of miscarriages in the past 4 months in Greater Siena. It was initially believed that there may have been contamination of the local water supply, particularly the Loch Mason Reservoir, but this cause has been ruled out by the Department of the Environment and confirmed by the Department of Public Works. There is some speculation by health officials that the birth complications are caused by a virus spread by mosquitoes. A connection to the miscarriages, the insect bites, and a corresponding increase in emergency room visits for flu-like symptoms has not been made. Security camera video recording from the Superior Court of Siena. March 6 this year. Security video footage of the Superior Court of Siena captures a shadowy figure visiting Judge Mary Zhao's chambers on the day and about the time that an affidavit and arrest warrant for Rebecca Azza was recorded to have been produced. The video, which is typically clear enough to make a simple identification or capture traits, was unclear in this instance. The figure appeared to have no face, even in a still image. In motion, the face appeared to shift continuously as though it were a recording defect. Affidavit and warrant issued for the arrest of Rebecca Azza. Affidavit. Siena City. Detective F. Mannion. Number 176, personally makes oath that Rebecca Azza, a female born October 24, 35 years ago, hereinafter called the accused, did, on or about the 18th of January, this year, commit the offense of arson, ICS Section 17-6-2, against the independent city of Siena, in that said accused did cause the fire that took place at Serpa Coast Apartment Complex, specifically Apartment H of 413 Harborside Road Southeast, the residence of Jonathan Fitzallen, and had attempted to disguise the act as a rescue. The accused does not reside at or near the apartment complex but was in the vicinity of the building at approximately 3 a.m. just prior to the fire. A reusable metal lighter was found at the scene and was determined to be the cause of the fire. Police have identified the lighter as belonging to the accused. The lighter was submitted to the Federal Investigations Crime Lab for analysis, and testing confirmed the presence of the accused fingerprints. The accused did not sustain injury from the event. The accused has previously commented to police that she anticipated the fire, and this deponent makes this affidavit that a warrant be issued for her arrest. Sworn to and subscribed before me this 6th day of March, this year. Mary A. Zhao. Judge, Superior Court of Siena. Detective F. Mannion. Number 176. Defiant. Criminal Arrest Warrant. Superior Court of Siena. To any sheriff, deputy sheriff, coroner, constable, marshal, or law enforcement officer of this region authorized to execute warrants. The above-named defiant makes oath that the above-named accused did commit the offense of arson, ICS Section 17-6-2. The court finds from the above affidavit and other sworn testimony that the probable cause exists for the arrest of the accused. You are therefore commanded to arrest the accused, and bring her before the Magistrate Court of Siena City or some other judicial officer of this region, to be dealt with as the law directs. Herein fail not. This 6th day of March, this year. Mary A. Zhao. Judge, Superior Court of Siena.
This story is 100% original and written by a human, yours truly, the author. AI was not used to write, prompt, organize, or otherwise generate this story. This audiobook edition was, however, created using licensed text-to-voice software with a lifelike casting and intonation manually adjusted and refined line by line by me, and art in and of itself. The theme music was written and produced by Kiss the Widow. If you like what you found so far, please like and follow, subscribe, and share. Also, please be sure to check out my socials.